Hi, my name is Coldbeer and let's start with Tempest Rising. Yeah, let's start with one of the coolest upcoming RTS games overall. We were waiting for something like this for years and now finally our wait is almost over. Inspired by the greatest classic RTS games, Tempest Rising is set in a modern-day alternative history war scenario. It features 3 unique factions, each with its own approach to combat and economy and offering a variety of strategies. You'll take role of a commander of highly mobile and advanced peacekeeping corps into 15 mission campaigns that will allow you to customize your army for each mission, as both armies seek to understand and control the mysterious but beneficial Tempest winds that grow unchecked across the war-torn planet Earth. Other dangers wait in the shadows as the origin of the Tempest is revealed. Ooh. Anyway, all 3 factions will be asymmetrical, each featuring distinct economy and playstyle, so CNC and StarCraft fans are cheering for that already. Also, skirmish, custom games and ranked multiplayer matchmaking will be available, so you will be able to actually measure how bad you play. Men of War 2. First game was released in 2009 and now 13 years later we are getting part 2. You'll experience an epic story spanning 2 primary campaigns, Allies and Soviets against the Third Reich military power machine. Game features highly detailed World War II locations, vehicles and characters. You'll encounter 45 battalions and over 300 different vehicles. Game also includes multiplayer and co-op mode. You will be able to play in vast selection of realistic skirmish and challenge maps, providing enough room for strategic maneuvers. So plan your attacks, team up with a friend and fail the battle together. Yeah, prove me wrong. Anyway, the visuals are great, and despite the fact that this game looks more like a sluggish company of heroes than Command & Conquer, the gameplay is far more fast-paced, and that is one of the deciding factors why we might really like this game. Barkhan. Well, it may look like, but it's totally not a Dune game. Absolutely not. This planet is not Arrakis, and it's not teeming with sandworms. Oh no, these are all sand snakes. Yeah, sand snakes, you heard right. And they all gonna be sad snakes when the studio receives cease and desist letter from some giant corporation now holding rights to the actual Dune. Or not, maybe they do not even care. All this situation somehow reminds me of movie Transmorphers by Asylum Studio. It's a steal, but it's so clever and dumb, but at the same time it's hard to prove anything and it's not even worth it most of the time. So you would probably be absolutely surprised when I say that Barkhan actually means a crescent-shaped dune mostly encountered in Turkestan. Well, it's actually a way better name than, for example, the lump of sand, which you could expect from the project like that. So here you will be digging not spice obviously, but rare minerals, and we'll do that as one of 2 clans, Clan of Power or Clan of Will, which are not alternatives to Harkonnen and Atreides in any way. All the resemblances are miraculous coincidence. Anyway, if you want, you can already try demo version of the lump of sand on Steam and be eaten by some sad snake. To be honest, the game doesn't look bad. Not bad at all. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance. I'll be honest, this is one of the coolest looking upcoming RTS games, and the setting is a wet dream of my teenage years. As I have mentioned in my previous video about CNC games, I have watched all the Terminator movies and I liked 3 of them, the first 2 and the one with Christian Bale. The latter wasn't a really good movie in terms of the plot, but I liked the anti-utopian world controlled by evil machines, especially the scene where Bale enslaves a robot motorcycle. So in the campaign here you will start humanity's resistance against the machines by surviving engagements with Legion and rallying others to your cause. But in the post-Judgment Day world, the greatest threat may not come from the machines, but rather from the other human survivors. The game will offer tons of fun stuff, from physics-based building demolition with realistic tactical consequences to a modular component damage system, where armor characteristics, component malfunctions and hull integrity will affect if your troops survive. And you can test that survivability not only in campaign but also in online multiplayer matches with real human opponents. As I've said before, not the machines but humans are your greatest threat, well, at least in multiplayer. Rogue Command. This may not be the prettiest game in this list, to be honest, it's probably the worst looking one graphics-wise, but hey, who are we to judge someone's beauty? Also, the most important thing is gameplay, and the latter is looking rather cool. You'll use the engineer to construct the base and start building your army, scout your enemy to form a plan of attack and control your units to outmaneuver the enemy. While RTS players will feel immediately at home, Rogue Command switches up the game a bit. Instead of learning build orders, each run of the game opens new ways to to play. After every level you will have to choose between 3 blueprint cards that add new buildings to your arsenal like factories, support buildings, turrets or super weapons. All that sounds really fun, and you know what? You can download and play Rogue Command demo absolutely free on Steam right now. Sanctuary. This is a real-time strategy game set far in the future where 3 factions fight for power on what could be a prosperous utopia but instead is a warring hellscape. Here you'll take command of up to 1000 units under your direct control and map up to 40 by 40 kilometers in size as a battleground. The game will prioritize macroeconomics over micromanagement, which can only mean one thing: death of one or several of your units means nothing in a grand scale of upcoming battles. Here are no spending limits, no speed limits, just the cold reality of income minus expenses. Anyway, the game is heading for a Kickstarter campaign someday in 2023, so if you like what you see, consider becoming a supporter. Global Conflagration. The game is set in a fictional near future where Europe is at war. That is a really unfortunate setting which they chose way before Russians attacked Ukraine. Anyway, here you'll find a campaign that will explore an unexpected military incursion in Europe as well as offline skirmish and multiplayer. Global Conflagration has a traditional base building system implemented, and that is for sure a sign of a good RTS game. If an RTS doesn't contain base building, it must be beyond awesome in other aspects. But we all know that those games tend to fail a lot and they are not as loved by the players as those who have base building implemented. Release date is not known yet, but if you stay with my channel, news will come to you sooner or later, so subscribe. Commanding Nations. This is an indie title where you can build anywhere and produce as many units as you want as long as you can collect the resources in need. You'll play as one of 3 nations and destroy your opponents. Developers say that they seek to introduce new elements such as combining units, managing their ammunition reserves, and making sure to have them fall back to safe zones to resupply. Also here you'll find dynamic weather, night and heat vision, mist, and interactive grass that small units can go and hide into. Anyway, Commanding Nations is coming into early access on September 30, so the judgment day of this game is way sooner than you may expect. Cold Engines. For now, just a few screenshots exist and no actual gameplay video. I asked developers for anything gameplay or at least video related, but they said that so far they have nothing and they actually don't think that they will have time to make anything until next year. That is suspicious. Anyway, he will command a small group of survivors, build a base where they can hide from the cold and refuel their tanks, send harvesters to pull frozen or damaged wrecks to your base to get resources, plan attacks and ambushes based not only on your enemy actions but also the pitfalls of the freezing world. Well, let's wait for the gameplay to emerge and we can discuss it again. The Great War, Western Front. This is a rare specimen in a strategy gaming world, a World War I RTS. You will play a deciding role in history as you take charge in the Western Front of the First World War. And to raise your enthusiasm even more, I should probably say that developers of the Great War worked on original Command & Conquer games before leaving Westwood and founding their own studio almost 20 years ago. So he'll pick your faction and lead your forces to victory by directing your armies in gritty real-time battles and by guiding high-level decisions. You will dig detailed trenches, research new technologies such as poison gas and tanks, and make decisions that will have a profound and lasting effect on your success, or failure, more likely. Also, have you checked the GOG weekly sale already? Hundreds of games are hugely discounted right now. All you need to do is just to press my link in the description below and bam, you are there. Also, refunds are supported for up to 30 days. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.